The first Claretian missionaries sent to Asia, to Kaifeng in China, were Fathers Foguet and Rojas in 1929. Father Rojas got sick soon and went back to Spain, and Father Foguet was left alone and without a mission, as the seminary was entrusted to the Pyme. Then an opportunity came in 1932 with the mission of TUNXI in Anhui, until then under Jesuit care. It was accepted in April 1933. In November 1952, the last Claretians were expelled from their mission in Asia by the new communist government. 27 Claretian missionaries served in the mission of TUNXI those 19 years. 2 of them died soon after arrival and are buried there. But they were not the only ones in Asia by then. On December 26, 1946, Claretians from USA arrived to open a new Claretian mission in the Philippines. 2 weeks after arrival, they took over Santa Barbara Parish in Pangasinan. The first missionaries were Fathers Catalan, Martin, and Micho. Later, they were invited to run a boys' vocational school in Dagupan, Pangasinan. On 1951, Claretians took the parishes of Las Mercedes in Zamboanga City and in other areas. A school and a parish were established in Quezon City in the 60s, and Claretian Publications, Philippines, and ICLA were started in the 80s and 90s respectively. In 1950, Bishop Taguchi of Osaka, who had studied with Fathers Maroto and Larraona, was back in Rome and joined the canonization of St. Anthony Mary Claret. In a meeting with Father General Peter Zweiger, Taguchi welcomed the Claretian missionaries to his diocese of Osaka. In 1951, the first group of Claretians arrived at Osaka. A year later, in 1952, the Bishop of Allahabad, India, invited the Claretians to work in his diocese and to teach in the seminary, but foreign missionaries could not enter India. The Bishop of Kollam, while visiting the United States in 1955, invited Father Peter Zweiger to visit India, which he did in 1956. During that visit, he met the Archbishop of Delhi, Jack de Souza, and talked about how to set the congregation in India. In the April 1961 General Chapter, Father Dimberger spoke about the initiatives the German province had taken to establish the congregation in India. That summer, Father Dimberger invited the Bishop of Palai, Sebastian Bayalil, to Weissenhorn to visit Claretiner College. The bishop agreed on allowing seminarians of his diocese to go to Germany and join the congregation. On 21 October 1961, the first group of 5 students left for Germany, and on 27 July 1968, the first Indian Claretian priest, Father Joseph Madhabath, was ordained in Germany and returned to India. Others followed next. While in India, Father Dimberger realized the urgent need to have Claretian formation centers inside India for the congregation to take roots. On March 31, 1970, the foundation stone for the first house in India was laid in Kuravilangat, which served as novitiate and minor seminary. From these 3 kernels, the Claretian mission in Asia expanded. In 1983, the Philippines founded the Mission of Australia, and Japan, then renamed East Asia Delegation, entered Korea with Claretians from Philippines. The foundations of Indonesia, Timor-Leste in 1983, and Vietnam in 2002 were also made with this spirit of cooperation. In 2005, Indonesia, Timor-Leste became an independent delegation, and so did Korea in 2010. The missionary return to China was entrusted to East Asia with the foundation of the Martyrs of Barbastro community in Taiwan in 1994. In 2005, Korea, East Asia opened a house in Harbin and the Philippines in Macau, later entrusted to East Asia. 3 years ago, the Claretians were officially accepted by the Diocese of Hong Kong, and last year, 2017, the Philippines finally established a Claretian community in Myanmar. In 1974, 40 years after opening of the first house in India, the province of Bangalore was established. As the Claretian presence in India gained momentum, new organisms were formed from Bangalore province. Chennai in 1993, St. Thomas in 2001, Northeast India in 2009. Chennai established the dependent delegation of Kolkata in 2008, which will become independent in June 2019. In 2012, Chennai opened a mission house in Malaysia, and this year, 2018, Bangalore opened a house in New Zealand. A Sri Lanka presence was also achieved in relation to Father Dimberger's endeavors in India. In 1976, two Sri Lankan sisters studying in India got acquainted with Father Dimberger. Once the sisters returned to Sri Lanka, Father Dimberger sent Father Syriac Najarkulan to Jaffna in April 1978 for follow-up. The Bishop of Jaffna, who knew the Claretians from his canon law studies in Rome, approved and blessed the plan of recruiting candidates from his diocese for the congregation. In July 1979, the first group of 4 candidates reached Claret Vaban, Karumathur, in Tamil Nadu, India. In 1984, the INDO-SRILANKAN delegation was established, and by 1985, 15 candidates from Sri Lanka had joined the Claretian formation process in India. Recruitment came to a stop due to the Civil War, which also made it impossible to start a foundation in the house bought in 1984 in Jaffna. Another house was purchased in Belisara Ragama to establish a Claretian community, and it was officially opened on 24th October 1992 with the blessing of the Archbishop of Colombo. Jaffna House had to wait until 1998. When Chennai province was established in 1993, the Sri Lankan mission separated from the administrative setup of the Indian provinces and was directly entrusted to the province of Germany. Apart from the mission in Asia, Philippines, India, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia Timor-Leste have generously supported with personnel many positions in different organisms in Asia as well as in Europe, Africa, and America. Claretian missionaries in Asia make almost 1/3 of all the professed members of the congregation. Numbers are especially shocking in India and Indonesia, both comprising a bit more than 80% of Claretians in Asia. Claretian ministry in Asia is centered in the Word of God, a charismatic thread, but it is mediated in different ways. Many of our positions serve the local churches through parishes, but with a few exceptions, like some places in Philippines and Indonesia Timor-Leste, most are first evangelization parishes and are located in areas where Christianity and Catholics are a minority. Kolkata and St. Thomas have dedicated ministry programs in this area. From urban ones to those located in the countryside, Claretian parishes offer a very diverse and colorful mosaic. A common trait is that all are popular parishes, well rooted in the local situation. The work is also present in print and in the virtual sphere. Philippines, East Asia, Bangalore, Sri Lanka, and Kolkata have established publication societies and produce Bible versions in local languages, related Bible study materials, and other books that may be of interest in the promotion of the good news among all, believers or not. Publication ministry is also entering now the virtual continent of social media through application and resources offered through the internet. The Word of God is also central in the many ministries of the Word that are non-parish related and which are being done in Sri Lanka, Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata, St. Thomas, Korea, East Asia. In this regard, there are three that are quite common all around: youth ministry, personal accompaniment, and counseling, both with youth and religious, and itinerant mission. In the area of church formation, some organisms like Sri Lanka, Korea, and East Asia are dedicated to the formation of lay ministers with their own programs or implementing programs for the local diocese. Also, Philippines and Bangalore have institutes for consecrated life, and other places like Sri Lanka and Indonesia, Timor-Leste have some animation formation activities or people dedicated to animation of consecrated life. Education ministry is present in many organisms, from kindergartens in East Asia to universities in Bangalore. Philippines, Chennai, Kolkata, and St. Thomas also have dedicated many resources and personnel to this important ministry that links first evangelization, family ministry, youth ministry, dialogue between faith and reason, social ministry, and empowering of communities. Finally, Claretians in Asia are committed to the kingdom coming through social ministry, especially notable in places like Bangalore and Sri Lanka, but indeed it is present in all organisms. Three fields where this ministry is especially developed among us are healing and medicine, like in Bangalore, Chennai, and Sri Lanka, the protection of rights and fight for equality among the indigenous people in Philippines and East Asia, and the plea of migrants and displaced people, Sri Lanka, Korea, and East Asia. This truly Claretian ministry has a double dimension. One is to provide when there is a lack that may affect life, with grants, social development programs, and so on. And the other is to empower the people affected so they would be able to speak out by themselves and take the issues affecting them in their own hands. Gospel awareness and social teaching of the Church are two basic tools for this ministry. In all, we listen to the voice of the one who is calling us and who says, "Go and announce to all nations." The Roman Empire had its Mare Nostrum, and so do we. If something is common to Christianity in Asia, is that the gospel arrived to most countries through the sea. Truly, it was often accompanied by the sword and colonialism, but in the midst of that mundane enterprise was a precious gemstone, a message of hope and liberation. That same sea defines too our Claretian mission in Asia and beyond, in Oceania. From the shores of the Pacific Ocean to the Indian Ocean ones, all the countries we are present have sea coast. Most of them are island countries like Indonesia, Japan, Taiwan, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Timor-Leste, and New Zealand. Others are city ports like Macau and Hong Kong, or are mainly located in peninsulas like Korea and Malaysia, or hold a long tradition of sea-related cultures and industries like Vietnam, Myanmar, and India. There is even an island continent, Australia. Seas and oceans have been since antiquity agents of cultural exchange and encounter. Their seemingly unlimited horizon is always asking those at the beach to go beyond in search of new shores, peoples, and cultures. Still, seas are sometimes rough and unforgiving, cause of fight and disputes, when seen as source of economic gain for exploitation, instead of gift for sharing with respect and care. Our Marea Nostra are indeed suffering from pollution and are struggling to keep populations fed. Sons of Mary and sons of the sea. As Claretians in Asia and Oceania, we keep our boats ready, sails well maintained, and the mind scouting the wind. always ready for the moment the master, with unwavering voice, seizes the opportunity and says, "Go into the deep, duc in altum."